Hello my lovely bookish and cozy friends, welcome back to another reading journal video. I wanted to try doing monthly journal videos, but I wasn't sure how to do them at first, as I don't do monthly spreads. I haven't found any need to track my monthly reads in that way at the moment. Maybe this will change in the future, but for now I just want to see how these monthly videos go as they are. As I don't do monthly spreads, we are diving straight into the first book of 2025, The Missing of the Claire de Lune, which is the continuation of my reread of the Mirror Visitors Quartet. This is the second book and I had a wonderful time rereading this. I ended up tabbing so many scenes that I loved. I didn't annotate it properly, I just tabbed my favourite moments, but there was so many tabs that I ended up with a very thickly tabbed book. With my favourite books, I usually do mood boards for my reading journal, but as this is a reread, I decided not to do one for this. The first time I read this series, it got a double-page mood board, and it remains the only book series to ever get one. So this time I haven't done it, but I really like this fan art of the two main characters, so I've put it in the My Thoughts section just to make it a bit prettier. Moving on to the next book, and I am doing a mood board for this one. I'm going to try something a bit different and do a quote mood board. This book, Orbital, is full of wonderful lines and beautiful prose. I also had these space stickers for years and I have been waiting for a reason to use them. I think they'll fit perfectly for this novel, which is about a crew of astronauts in the International Space Station. This novel doesn't have a lot in terms of plot, but its perspective is so unique and different to anything else I've read. Space-related novels tend to be sci-fi rather than literary fiction, so it was interesting to read a novel that wasn't about aliens or anything like that. Rather, it's a discussion about Earth and climate change and humans' constant need to explore and branch further out into the unknown. There are a lot of quotes I could have picked, but I went for this one. The earth from here is like heaven. It flows with colour, a burst of hopeful colour. When we're on that planet, we look up and think heaven is elsewhere. But here's what astronauts and cosmonauts sometimes think. Maybe all of us, born to it, have already died, and here and are in the afterlife. There's a bit more to the quote in the novel, but I just took that part. And I know it sounds a little morbid on its own, but it's actually about how beautiful the earth looks from afar and how putting some perspective on things changes how we look at a place that we take for granted every day. Earth is a paradise if we don't ruin it. I just love the idea and all the different aspects of the novel. I listened to the audiobook and finished it in a single sitting. It was so enjoyable. I really like how this movie will turn out. I've never done a quote design before, so this was something a bit different, but I really like it and I will definitely be trying something like this again in the future. Moving on to the next two books. I had such a great reading month actually and ended up enjoying everything that I read. The next novel was Yours from the Tau, which was utterly delightful. This is a YA historical novel following the letters of three girls who were friends at school and are now going on to become ladies in society. This is another book I finished in a single sitting. I read the ebook from the library and it was adorable. The sisterhood and friendship these girls have is so sweet and wholesome. This is my first time that I've read a novel written entirely in letter format, so that made it an extra engaging read. The next book was the sequel to The House on the Cerulean Sea. It was just always also very cute. I got it from the library and I think overall I did actually prefer the first book in the series, as I love reading it from Linus's perspective, and this novel was told through Arthur's, which added a different angle to the story and was interesting to see through his eyes. But that said, anyway, I love the characters and the world of this book, so it was an incredibly enjoyable read. For every novel that I read, I have the same journal set up, following the same things. I like to separate the different aspects of a novel, so the writing quality, the plot, the characters, the emotional impact, how it made me feel, and the world building. Just because sometimes a book can do one part better than the other, or for me anyway. So for Orbital, for instance, had the most amazing writing quality and the loveliest prose, but I didn't necessarily care about the characters individually, whereas the characters are my favourite part of Somewhere Beyond the Sea. Next up, we have a book that I actually started as an ebook last year and totally forgot about, so didn't finish it. I didn't put it on my Notion, and when I was watching back some of the vlogs, I remembered that I started it, and that is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. And wow, this novel is a wild ride. I really enjoyed it. It's best to go into it with an open mind and knowing that things won't necessarily make the most sense until later on. In fact, I really want to read this book now that I know how it ends, as now things will make a lot more sense and I can find the clues I didn't notice before. Just like The Night Circus, which is one of my favourites. Erin Morgenstern's writing is just beautiful. Gosh, how I wish I could write prose like her. Everything she writes is incredible, and I love how it all developed. And this is quite a hard story to explain, but it's a novel for people who love stories. It's like truly a love letter to stories itself. Again, I love how this mood board turned out, and this story is full of aesthetics that just needed to be put down on paper. It was actually originally my favourite mood board for last month for January's reads. However, this next novel just beat it to it. So this is for The Secret Garden, and gosh, how I adored this book. I did a reading vlog video for this book, which I'll link. This is a classic children's novel, and it's an absolute delight. The characters are so cute and sweet, and there's just so much about it that I loved. I actually can't believe that it took me so long to finally read it. The story follows an orphan girl who is sent to live with her uncle in this big old house, and she finds this secret garden that hasn't been opened for 10 years, and she sort of sets about bringing it back to life. I highly recommend giving this a read if you haven't done it before. It's just lovely, really. It's just such a lovely read. As it's set in a garden, I had to go all out with the floral theme for this mood board. I do go a little overboard with the stickers, but it absolutely deserves them. This mood board needs all the flowers and all the decorations. I absolutely love how it all turned out. I feel like it truly fits the theme of this novel. With that, we reach the end of this video. Let's do a flip through so we can see all that we've done for this last month. It looks so good. I know I will enjoy looking back through these pages and remembering these novels as the year goes on. Thank you so much for watching and reading journaling with me. Do let me know if you've read any of these novels and what you thought about them in the comments. Or if you haven't and don't really know what to put, then just leave a little book emoji so that I know that you made it all the way to the end of this video. Again, thank you for watching, and until next time, my lovely bookish friends.